Hey guys, how you doing? Today is Friday, June 7th. Um, DocuSign, right? We haven't been analyzed this stock for a while. Actually, DocuSign established on 2003, right? 21 years before. The stock been rising crazy during the tech time, but then goes down starting from the end of 2021, goes down, and then for these 2 years been quite in a low in low range, right? But actually, to me, DocuSign is a good stock, right? Because she, after so many years hard working, she already been the number one market leader in the e-sign market, right? That means the electronic signature market already. But unfortunately, then the profit is not going in the same way. Quite sorry about that. So DocuSign, she is definitely a good stock, but we still have to wait, right? Then she has to change something before the stock or the company profit can boom up, right? She has to change something, right? She already a leader in the e-signature already, right? Already the leader, and seems no one will threaten her. But the point is the e-signature. By no means she's the leader, but what about that, right? No, the profit doesn't say the same thing, right? So we are going to examine the results she just launched it yesterday, right? Okay, our Falcon portfolio been 105%, right, for 65 months, right? So just will show you in a minute. So for any of you that have any stock that you want me to analyze, you can leave your message under the YouTube, or you can directly email to me by usstockmarketweekly@gmail.com. This is our cover, DocuSign, a good stock, right? Actually, then I have to admit that it is a good company. She works hard for the past 20 years, right? 21 years, but we still have to wait if we want to invest on her. Yesterday, Dow Jones been up just not much, 78 points, then making Dow Jones very close to 39,000 again. 38 and 886 points closing. Nasdaq dropped only 14 points, right? Making 17 and 173 points closing. This is our Falcon 350,000 portfolio, right? Then this year, our progress for the past 5 months is not so satisfactory, just by 7%, making us the 105% for the total in the past 65 months. We go through some headline news first, right? China's export, right, grow more than, right, in May. That means last month by 7.6%, right? And it is expressed in a US dollar term. Doesn't mean the money is in US dollar, right? Should be in RMB or the other currency. Because then I just put red underline for you. The export and import and export to the US and EU fell during the time. That means they expressed that in US dollar, but actually it's not the actual trade between China and US or EU. So maybe with Russia or Middle East, we don't know, right? So just skip it. And another one is the Chinese electric car, NIO. NIO has a big loss for the past quarter, has a big loss for the last quarter. Now goes into the Middle East this year, right? Then they said it is a global expansion by peers. We know that China's EV car cannot go into the US market already, no matter they make it in Mexico. And now EU is saying that on July 4th, there should be a tariff for China EV, but not announced yet. We don't know the percentage, right? I don't know, maybe 25, and then Biden is going to EU, right? Maybe related to this issue, right? So Chinese EV has to go into other markets, right? Like Middle East, but we know that Middle East is always a variable. When they think that, oh, your car is very cheap, affecting our community, then they will quickly raise all the tariff, raise everything that is unfavorable to the Chinese EV. So I don't know, right? It's not very good for them to explore into Middle East, but no way, because then she made a lot of production already, and a lot of the EV car now is waiting at the pier of the EU countries, waiting already, right? I don't understand because for Europe Central Bank, they already put up the interest rate about a quarter, right? A quarter, and I don't know why the bond yields rise, right? So maybe for short term, I don't know. Actually, if they cut the interest rate for a quarter, then the bond yield should decrease. So, I don't know, right? And Trump have what's that? Then they are at San Francisco mansion conducting a fundraising, right? And there, then if you go there, then you should pay the ticket for just $50, right? And then there are 300 tire, right? Include a jack, a perks, then like a photo with a Trump, right? So, and then some guys paying 300,000 US dollar because a lot of people, for what? They want Donald Trump to be the next president. Why? Because before, when Donald Trump was the president, then the stock market, the commercial, and there is peace across the whole world, right? But when Biden comes up, right, for these 4 years, everything in a mess, right? Ukraine, Russia, Hamas, right? A lot of threaten, right? And China is doing a lot of things, right? Helping the Russia, right? And then disturbing the Philippines, Japan, Taiwan, right? A lot of things that is going on, right? In the past 3 years, so for the businessmen, right? They 100% want Trump to come out again, and they're expecting the same peaceful world, commercial, and then the stock raising, the same good old days from when Trump was the president before, right? So it's normal and reasonable, right? We'll see then. So we go into DocuSign. Then you can see for the historical stock price chart, right? You can see that during the tire before, the peak for the stock price of DocuSign is more than 300, right? And then when the party was over, going down, and going down to now is about 50 US dollars, something like that. But the PE ratio is still more than 100, 154, and the market cap still quite low, right? Just 11 billion US dollar. And for the past 1 year, the stock market not dropped a lot. The stock price not dropped a lot, but still dropped by more than 4% with no dividend. So we take a look on the quarter report from DocuSign yesterday, right? Market leadership, number one for e-signature already. Number one already, right? And then, how many customers she has? 1.51 million customers. A lot of customers for her account, right? What is the accessible market? The market for accessible for e-signature is 50 billion US dollar, right? Quite big. And for this quarter, right, and they said it's the last quarter of 2024, doesn't matter, right? Total revenue for international rise up by 27%, and then just for the total revenue of the company, right, yearly increased by 8%. And if for billing, right, if for billing, then it's increased by 13% year over year, and then free cash flow is 249 million US dollar, right? So you can see that for e-signature market, DocuSign already the number one already, because she got the market share of 67.62%. Even Adobe only 5%, right? And the other just 4%, 2%, 16% is the biggest one, right? And a lot of customer for DocuSign, like all of us know, Salesforce, SAP, Vodafone, right? Vodafone is in UK, right? And then University of Washington, Ultra, Alliance, Microsoft, Unilever, right? All of them are very famous. For the annual operating income is not doing good in 2018 to 2021, right? But in 2022, we cover already. But for the capital expenditure, not much, right? So I put a question mark. And the cash generated from the operation is okay. And from the experience, then the companies, they spend on extra 18% of their time on making the agreement, right? So the software now DocuSign using is not just for you to give your e-signature, right? They will do a program for you to how to generate the contract agreement, right? The software is big. For a big company, then you can calculate the retirement for the holiday, right? For the payroll, a lot of things that you can do, right? Not only for you to sign, but the main purpose is for you to sign. You can see that resulting in 55 billion hours wasted globally each year because for making the agreement, right? So for the market, for the TAM, right, 50 billion US dollar, 25 billion and 25 billion is on e-sign add-on, right? That means not only on the e-sign, but the e-sign add-on. That means then she has extra feature of the software for the company to use, right? So for this is what they call the 2025 Q1. Doesn't matter, right? Just the name. International, the revenue growth that year by year 17%, and then total revenue grow by 28%. Then you can see that actually now DocuSign is being used in Australia, in Canada, in Mexico, and some Asian countries, some Europe countries, sorry. And those are the partners of DocuSign, and also like all we know, Salesforce, Microsoft, SAP, Deloitte, Google, Workday, we all know that, right? They are famous guys. ServiceNow, right? But for these 2 or 3 quarters, the performance of DocuSign is not very good. Then we can see that for the past 2 or 3 quarters, the revenue growth is being slowed down only by 7%, right? And then for the revenue, 66%, 86% is from commercial. That means from commercial customer. Only 14% may be from personal customers, right? Mobile or the website doing the e-signature. 86% is come from commercial. Subscription, right? The same issue for the past 3 quarters. The yearly growth of the revenue, 9%, 8%, 8%. So the investor is quite worrying, slowing down, right? We can see that for the revenue, the main contribution is, of course, the subscription. That means you need to subscribe, and then you can use the software, you can use the platform, then use it on the cell phone, blah, 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 something like that, right? 97% of the revenue comes from the subscription, and then only 3% is for some technical service or technical consultant, right? For billing growth, right? The same issue, right? For the past 5 quarters, the increment of the revenue, 11%, 12%, and then 9%, 9%, and just this quarter, only 8%, right? Only 8%. And then for the yearly growth, right, also the same, only 5%, right? So the investor is worrying on that. Does the growth is slowing down? Operating efficiency is still okay, right? Subscription gross margin, 84%, I think it's okay, right? Total gross margin, 82, I think still okay, right? Headcount, decreased, right? And we take a glance at the statement of operation, right? Total revenue, 709 million US dollar compared with 661 million 1 year before. That's okay, but we can see that the cost of revenue and the operating expenses very high. You see that, right? Very, very high. It's more than 80% of the total revenue, right? And then the net income, only 33 million US dollar, only 33, but still better than 1 year before, right? Only 500, only 539,000 US dollar, right? But the net income margin is only 4.9%. Very, very low for the net income margin. So I take and a pot and a dot on that, right? You can see that the current asset, okay, 1.4 billion US dollar, 1.4 billion US dollar. And for the total current liability, 1.6, okay to me. So I put a tick and then a dot. And for the long-term liability, non-current, very few, right? So forget about it. So for the balance sheet, she's okay. And for the net cash provided by the operating activity, I think it's okay. 254 million US dollar compared with 233 million US dollar 1 year before. For the guidance, right, there is the guidance, right? You can see that on the guidance is no net income, right? It's not very good to show you, right? So only have the total revenue, subscription, billing, something like that. We can see that for the next quarter, and then the revenue is from 725 million to 729 million US dollar compared with this quarter, 709 million US dollar, increment about 3%. And for the total 2025 fiscal year guidance, nearly the same, right? If we divided by that into average into 4 quarters, that is 730 million US dollar per quarter compared with 709 million for this quarter. So the increment is about 3%, right? But the key issue is that for the net income is very low, right? I will not be too care on the gross margin, operating margin, as an investor or shareholder. Much for me to care is the net income, because the net income is what we can get, right? For billing, for gross margin, not our issue. I think that is a mistake for the forward PE, because this forward PE shows DocuSign is 16.5 PE. I think is not correct. I think should be more than 100, because you can see that the revenue is very high, but the net income is very low. And the net income, you can maybe like that, right? Because 1 year before, the net income is very low, very low. But this year, the net income much bigger. So make the PE just 16.52. But what we are worrying is for the subscription revenue increment. For others, it seems slowing down, right? Seems slowing down, that's the issue. So the investor is worrying. And this company is already 21 years old already, not a new company. Maybe she get everything she can get in the e-signature market. I think that DocuSign need to, because few months before there's a news that some companies want to acquire DocuSign, but she refused it. She want to be on her own. But DocuSign, I think is not big enough, because she still have to rent the server, and there's a lot of money, and she still have to stick into some giant like Microsoft, right, like Salesforce, before they can easily get to the customer, right? It's not very convenient for me to, if my company is a one building, right, a lot of staffs, right, it's not very smart just to join the e-signature, right? We have a lot of things to solve, like the contract, right? Like the HR, like the payroll, like the retirement fund, like the internal meeting, right? A lot of things is not the e-signature. It's better for me to join the Salesforce, or better for me to join the Microsoft, something like that, right? So she has to do something because before she can shine, right? This is what I think. Right? Okay, then today we share up till here, and then thanks for watching, and give us like, comment, share, please, right? So please subscribe and then press the bell icon, right? Okay, then I hope everyone has very peaceful weekend. See you guys on next Friday. Bye bye.